Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope your day is going wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today we are creating with a few new items at the Simon Says Stamp Shop. This is part of the brand new Just a Note release. We're using a stencil set. This is a layering stencil set. It's called Layered Sunflowers. It's a 3-piece set. And it's 6x9, so it's great for so many card sizes. We are also going to be using a new greeting stamp set. This is called Plant Sentiments. And I'll be using this, quite a few, during the end of this month and then also the beginning of next month with some more projects using the Just a Note release. We're going to start by doing a little bit of stenciling. Today's card is pretty easy because all we're doing is creating a background. We're going to make a landscape style card, so I have my stamp and stencil mat in an A2 panel. I'll place this on here. I'm going to take my first stencil, and they don't have numbers or letters on the bottom, but they do have Simon's name on the bottom, so you know which side's right side up. I'm going to tack this down, making sure it's centered, because for the most part we're going to be using the entire panel here. I'm going to be using some inks for my card today, and I picked out some bright colors. I have Perfection, Field, Sweets, and Sherbet I'll use for our petals. But for the base of our flowers, we're going to use our greens. And we'll start with my lightest green, and I'm going to pick up some of my ink and just lightly go over it. Now this is the stem of your flowers, but it's also the flower centers. And I don't want my flower centers to be green. I'm going to go back in with black flower centers. So we add some color to our first layer. And then I'm going to go in with my Field, my darker ink, and this time instead of using a blending brush, I'm going to use a detail blending brush. These ones, I have my details here. And then I'm going to add some darker ink from the stem base up, just to all of my stems here. This way we have a little bit of dimension. It's nice to add dimension to inks when your card doesn't have that many layers. Wonderful. And then I'm going to take some black ink, and I'm going to use another detail blending brush. I'm going to bring in my Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. And I'm going to go over the flower centers with this. This way, that green that we shaded in is covered up. And we'll just do a little shading. I'm going to keep my ink out because I'm going to stamp my sentiment later on. We can close it up though. Let's go ahead and remove our stencil. Loving the way this looks. I'm going to take my second layer, and we will go ahead and add this one. We will tack this down. For this layer, I'm going to be using my Sherbet, and we're going to use one of our blending brushes. If you guys haven't tried these I really like them. I use these for my ink pads. We're going to take our Sherbet and just go over our petals. And then we will take this away. Looks kind of Halloween-y, but we're going to fix it with some pinks. So I'll take my third layer, and we will add this. This is where the index comes in handy. I was going to add it upside down. Make sure it's right side up. And I will layer this. And for this layer, we're going to use Sweets. It's almost like a fuchsia. And we will add some color here. And I love the way this looks. Background filled with flowers. Now I mentioned I left my ink out because we are going to stamp our sentiment. So let's bring in our stamping positioner. I have a strip here of white cardstock. In the plant sentiments, there's lots of florally sentiments, and I think I'm going to use the one that says, "To plant a flower is to believe in tomorrow." I think that's pretty. I'll just take my black ink and we'll stamp this, and then I will block this off. Oh, that's pretty. Lovely. I'm going to go ahead and take my paper trimmer and we will trim away the excess. Next, I'll take my scissors and I want to pop this panel up to give it a little bit of dimension, and I noticed that the curve of the flowers will create an archway like this. So just using my scissors, I'm going to trim away that top row of stems to create a scallop. Making it as even as I can get it. This one's a little bit off. Love that scalloped edge. I want a little extra room on the top of white showing for my card base. So I'm going to trim off a little bit from this bottom layer. And then I'll add some foam tape behind here and we'll place this on our card base. So we have a little bit of dimension here. I have my white gel pen, and since we have black flower centers, I love adding white dots to those black flower centers. And I'm going to create a pattern with them. So I'm just going to add 4 dots to each of the flower centers. And then we are almost done. Wonderful. Now since we don't have very much to this card, I am going to add a little texture using some DMC floss. This is silver, and I like, if you have some silver wire thin gauged, you could use that too, but I'm just going to trim some off, let it create a little pile here. I'll add my pile to my card. Let me show you. You can see where it's at. So we have some texture. And then I'll remove the release paper off of my sentiment. And then we are going to add that right over that, that DMC floss here. I think that's a good spot. I think that's good. And then when you press it, you're actually pressing that floss into place too. And then that finishes my card today using the layered sunflower stencil set, part of the Simon Says Stamp Just a Note release. Everything's linked down below. Thanks for sticking with me to the end. Have a wonderful day. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It does help my channel out. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.